Have Americans reached a breaking point with Jade Helm 15? Jade Helm Decoded. That's the focus of this edition of Breaking Point on the Next News Network. Local media is reporting that citizens of Big Spring, Texas have seen helicopters and tanks moving into their town. This comes just a month after Thomas Meade spoke to the Big Spring City Council asking for their invitation. And following the 30-minute presentation on Jade Helm, resident Kimberly York had the courage to confront them with some pretty tough comments and questions.
Kimberly York, and I actually am one of the county residents, and I'm a little distressed with the fact, A, the county issued an invitation without letting the citizens know that it's going on in the county. I think that we should have been informed. I feel like it's being hidden from us about, and then all of a sudden an invitation's issued and it's on us. And I'm a little bit concerned about that. I think as citizens we have the right. I also am a hospice nurse. I have a lot of concerns about our elderly population in this county and in this city by things that are going on and being distressed. It may double our phone calls for home healths and hospices because we will be the first persons they call and get distressed. What the press is putting out is really different than what we're seeing here today. The press is telling us, oh, you're not going to hear about it, you're not going to see it, it's just not going to affect your lives. Well, what we're reading here is that it might affect our lives. And I think as citizens of this county, we should have a voice in whether that invitation is issued. I've got some, like I said, some real concerns. There's safeties for civilians. Why are we looking at safety issues if there's nothing to see here right now? By the way, I am a military brat. I do support the military. I feel that there's other ways of training than inflicting it on the citizens of this county.
Now, she felt the groundwork had already been laid. Then the military contractor simply came in to pitch the invite, as if it was a foregone conclusion. Now, before we get into the meat of the drill, let's talk about the potatoes. The military is enticing the invitations from the communities, stating that this 2-month drill will spur the local economies.
For example, food. If my team says I need 50 pounds of potatoes, I'm not bringing those potatoes from Fort Bragg. I'm not bringing those from North Carolina. My guys will go to the grocery store, they'll purchase 50 pounds of potatoes, and then they will be appropriately put in an item or in a location to be recovered by the training unit. So we're going to buy those things here.
Yes, you heard him correctly. A 50-pound bag of potato. That costs about $10 US at your local Walmart. Now, that was his example. And that, my friends, is the value being placed upon you, opening up your homes, your properties, your businesses, and your streets to this military exercise. Now, this guy certainly doesn't mind as long as his Walmart doesn't close and he doesn't miss the next rerun of How I Met Your Mother.
It's going to boost local economy as well because you're going to have thousands of troops here buying groceries, the military is going to be buying fuel in the area.
Now for the meat of the operation, what should be expected to take place?
What can you expect? Now understand that this slideshow is our standard slideshow that we use to brief the counties and the cities. Within the cities, you won't see most of this, I would tell you. For example, increased aircraft in the area at night. You'll see that out in the rural area. We have a resupply, an aerial drop that will occur, and then some paratroopers as well will jump into Martin County in early August. It won't happen within the city limits. Noise complaints. If my guys are noisy here in the city, they're really doing something wrong, is what I would tell you. That third bullet, conducting suspicious activities. That's where, here in the city, we're looking at using the city from an aspect of conducting clandestine meetings within the city limits. There'll be no kinetic activity. There won't be gunfire going on. There won't be things like that. Our footprints within the cities are probably 5 to 6 people at the most when we do these meetings. But one of the most important things, and I know I've said it previously, is we link in with the law enforcement officers. They know when and where we're conducting activity. That way we actually invite the police department to be near the activity. That way they're able to answer constituent calls on that. The other thing that we do is we brief that prior to the activity going on. That way the police chief can let the dispatch know that this is occurring, so that when they field phone calls from concerned citizens, they're able to meet that off or cut that off at the pass.
Yes, you heard him correctly. He said clandestine activities will be taking place. Aircraft at night carrying weapons, and that the local population will certainly be startled. Now this means 911 call centers will be dealing with higher than normal call volumes, forcing the police to interface with the military and then the public, leaving other crimes going, well, not getting the attention that they deserve. He did confirm that they will be carrying weapons, mostly wearing civilian clothing, as well as driving civilian vehicles, and they will not be using explosives.
One of the things that we do as well, they will be carrying weapons, but it won't be live ammunition. It'll all be blank ammunition. Just to correct one thing that was in the newspaper on Sunday that I read was they'll have blank ammunition, but there will not be any explosions. We won't be setting off live demolition out here. The guys will be wearing civilian attire or a mixed uniform. They may be wearing fatigue bottoms and a t-shirt, but that's not normally anything that's out of the ordinary in West Texas from what I've seen, especially during hunting season. And they may be driving civilian vehicles throughout the area. So really, within the city limits, if you notice my guys, they're probably really doing something wrong.
What's curious about the drill is that even though they claim the soldiers will go unnoticed, they intend to have a medic within each unit, as well as fire safety gear, and local law enforcement will be in direct communication with the Department of Defense.
One of the most important things, the #1 priority for United States Army Special Operations Command, is the safety of our civilians and the exercise participants. We want to make sure that everybody's safe when it comes to this. Again, daily communication between law enforcement and Department of Defense. Anytime we're conducting activity in your jurisdiction, we will make sure that we coordinate. We have medics. Each Special Forces detachment has 2 Special Forces medics that are trained to a very high trauma level that will be with each element. We also have a support element that will have a senior non-commissioned officer, Special Forces medic, who is responsible for the evac and anything that those 2 medics cannot handle. He'll be the one that will be directly interfacing with the hospitals.
So we know now by this admission that they will be ready for any casualties that arise from the event, and that local law enforcement will be conditioned to interface with the DoD. Now, Meade stated that some of the soldiers will in large part be undetectable, despite one specific item of clothing.
The first brown shirts with their swastika armbands stride arrogantly into the meeting.
That, for us, that's one of the big things. We make sure that all of our guys have some type of marking that they'll all be wearing an armband with a marking that identifies them as part of the exercise. And if we have role players, for example, a landowner or a business owner who is participating in the exercise, we'll ensure that they have marking as well, that they're part of the exercise.
So there you have it. In a nutshell, U.S. military coordinating with local law enforcement and elements of the willing public. They'll be conducting clandestine activities, carrying weapons under aircraft cover at night, wearing armbands with a special insignia for 2 months across 10 states. This is by far the greatest public conditioning exercise in American history. This, as the world watches Cheyenne Mountain reopening in anticipation of an EMP attack and key operations of the New York Federal Reserve moving to Chicago in the event of a natural disaster. Now, the event that is truly on the horizon is anyone's guess. However, one thing is for sure, troops will be ready and trained to take over your town when it happens. If you happen to live in any of the states where Jade Helm is occurring, please share this video with a neighbor or friend to give them a heads up. Also, if you see something, say something. Post your observations in the comment section below so we can maintain a crowdsourced record from the people, by the people. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi, and as always, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That's how we grow.